Hello, and this is my Equestria squad. For those who are new here, hello. I hope you enjoy this. This is not something I've done for my channel before, but judged by how I have 3,491.9 hours in this game, I consider myself very bad at it, and nowhere close to the best, because I'm actually kinda awful at it. Like, seriously. I'm not that good for someone who's played that long. I really should be better. But, historical AI off, spicy, regular, because I'm not that good. Jeez, come on, calm down. As you could probably tell from the title, I'm going the communist path. I've actually done a little bit of the communist path already. I've not gone through the entire thing, but it is the largest path I think in all of Equestria at war. But, anyways, we'll be getting to that as we go through this playthrough. But, to start, legend has it that when the daughter of the side god and the son of the sea god Tiamat fell in love, their parents created for them a paradise where the ocean meets the heavens, and gave to them the pearl of transformation so that they could move freely between land, sea, and sky. That paradise was the twin realms of Mount Eris and Equestria, and their descendants were the first of the hippogriffs and the sea ponies. For many millennia, the two realms flourished and prospered, and any creature able to change forms by petitioning the high priest kings to use the pearl of transformation. During this time, the two realms wanted little to do with the outside world, and life was simple, but good. Over time, however, the priest kings grew greedy, demanding lavish tributes to even see the pearls of transformation, much less use it. The two realms drifted apart, with the hippogriffs looking to the outside world, to North Zebrica and Equestria, and the sea ponies turning inward. Local nobles and merchants came to dominate society, bringing prosperity to the land, but also dissatisfaction with the arrogant and distant priest kings. Finally, in the year 523 ALB, after lunar banishment is what that means. BLB is before lunar banishment, which is the big thing going on in the main world of Equestria. By Equestrian reckoning, one family of nobles rebelled against the priest kings and their monopoly on the pearl. This family, known now as the Royal Line of Novo, rallied both sea ponies and hippogriffs to unite into one kingdom of Hippogriffia. With the pearl of transformation now freely available to any creature who wishes it to use it, they established a tradition of twin capitals, one on Mount Ares, the other in Equestria, with the king or queen dutifully moving their court between the capitals every 6 months, and practice a form of absolutist harmony inspired by Princess Celestia. And so it was for many generations, an unbroken line of kings and queens, each one designating a single heir based on which displayed the greatest wisdom and compassion. Change came gradually, usually inspired from above in small portions. Even the Industrial Revolution was brought in relatively orderly fashion during the reign of King Skylance and his daughter Queen Novo, who has reigned for the last 30 years. Of course, Hippogriffia could not stay apart from the chaos of the world forever. When the Storm King's armies set their sights on North Zebrica, Queen Novo began the creation of a grand army. But when it becomes clear they would not have enough time before the Storm King arrived, Novo, heeding the counsel of royal advisor Raftwood, used the Pearl of Transformation to evacuate the population of Mount Eris into Equestria. The 2 years spent beneath the waves were hard on the hippogriff population, and caused rifts to form between those who had always been sea ponies and those forced to adopt sea pony ways to survive. cut off from information from the outside world, forced to abandon their homes. Many secretly called Queen Novo a tyrant and a coward, abusing the pearl just as the old priest kings had. The queen's own daughter, Princess Skystar, agitated to return to the surface and confront the Storm King, but it was only thanks to the intervention of the Equestrian element bearers that Novo finally relented and sent the Hippogriff army to attack the Storm King's forces, massed at Ain Trot Goret. The Battle of Ain Trot Goret changed the course of history, the Storm King's armies taken completely by surprise. Their airships were shot down by the mighty Hippogriff Air Force, with the flagship down by the famous ace pilot Crack Lightning. The Storm King himself was betrayed and slain by his own lieutenant after Princess Skystar and the element bearers battled their way past his retinue. The Storm King's conquests were cut short in a single day, but Hippogriffia has changed forever. Seeing the devastation he had brought on their neighbors while they hid, many Hippogriffs declared that they would never hide again, and began going abroad to see the larger world, bringing back foreign ideas with them. Meanwhile, many sea ponies see recent events as proof that Hippogriffia should avoid the barbaric wider world, lest they become warmongers too. Seeing Hippogriffia beginning to fray, Queen Novo fired Raftwood and had the Pearl transformation divided into millions of tiny shards, giving up the power which the monarchy had held for so long. Now any Hippogriff or sea pony could transform at will. She also sent her niece Silverstream to study friendship in Equestria and set up a reconstruction mandate and refugee zone in the Zebra Kingdom of Zumedia, in order to prevent the kingdom falling into anarchy after the murder of their king by the Storm King and the devastation his armies brought. Now Hippogriffia stands at a crossroads. Will they stay true to harmony, or will they reject their monarchy in favor of new ideas? I wonder. Will they become an active player on the world stage, or retreat into isolation once more? Okay, one thing I'm excited about doing this playthrough, because I've seen so many people play through this mod, and none of them actually know about My Little Pony. I didn't until this mod, but I've actually watched through all of that season of My Little Pony, and most of the side stuff from it, not all of it. I actually haven't watched the movie that the Storm King is from, so I'll probably get around to doing that now that this is out. But I've watched through the whole show, and it's actually pretty dang good. I'd recommend it quite a lot, actually. Their communist ponies are real. In our town, in our town. The sunny shores of northern Zebrica lie south of the equator, and thus its climate ranges from tropical to subtropical. The region is very hilly and has many islands, most notably Aries and Makawi. In the south, closer to the vast Zabhera desert, the region becomes more arid and inhospitable, but also less hilly. The nations of North Zebrica have close ties to Equus and Griffonia, and thus are among the most advanced nations on the continent. This is especially true for the island nations of Hippogriffia and Makawia, but also the secluded realm of Chiroptera and the Republic of Topuk as well. Carthage, a venerable maritime republic, and Warzina, a monarchy ruled by a benevolent king, are still in the process of industrialization. Quagatai, the realm of Khan, who took advantage of the chaos caused by the Storm King, and Zeratia, a federation of desert nomads and underdeveloped agrarian nations. The coastal regions were the final victim of the Storm King's campaign of pillaging and destruction, but Hippogriffia, Makawia, and Chiroptera managed to survive unscathed. In fact, it was the Hippogriffs who came out of hiding in Equestria and decisively defeated the Storm King. Number one. Makawia's powerful and modern fleet kept the island safe, while the fortress nation of Chiroptera was too heavily defended to be worth the effort. The rest of the region still has to recover from the devastation. Chiroptera is the most likely to take advantage of the weakness and disarray. However, what they do depends entirely on what happens in Equestria. If their plans fail, then they are likely to take an aggressive stance and pose a major threat to the smaller nations. Coltage Carthage, cultage, ha, funny, ha. Despite suffering from internal instability, may choose to ally with them against Hippogriffia as a bulwark of harmony. Hippogriffia will have to face them, but they might have to deal with internal threats first. Macawea will not intervene in this conflict, and in general, has little interest in mainland affairs. And if you want to read through this, I'm not reading this part because I'm assuming you at least know about Equestria War and Hearts of Iron 4 if you're watching this, but there, I zoomed through it if you want to read it. Some things I'm really liking about this update that don't actually have any treat, or some do, is one, Wingbardy. Wingbardy! Yeah! They can finally do this part that has been, in development. We'll get around to it at some point. And I've actually been not playing as Biccolini. I've been not playing as this country ever. I think this is like the only country I haven't played as yet, like in the main path. Just because I had played this before this came out, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna play, and I was like, ooh, no, I'm gonna wait. Another thing I really like, I was reading through the wiki, and this place actually has way too many stuff in the timeline. Like, it's actually like so much there. Like, there's more info about that than like the nations up north. And yet, it wasn't even in the game. So I was like, why is there so much about this? They don't exist. But finally, they're here. Then there's stuff like, where are you? Saddle Arabia. Sure, they barely exist under a civil war for some reason. But they finally added it to the game. Because that's a nation that's actually in legitimate, like, the show, and yet they didn't have it as a country, even though there's all these countries that don't exist in the show, and that just felt weird, and I'm glad it's finally there. Though I guess the Hippogriffs also existed in the show and they weren't there, but I don't know why Saudi Arabia always was the one that bothered me the most. Oh well. I think I might be the weird one. Yes, do not show. I don't know why that appears every single time. Alright. Now, since I've already played this, I am not gonna be building... Oh, now that's always my basic research starting point. But I'm not gonna be building any tanks because I will get an event very early on where I can unlock heavy tanks. I'm not gonna be starting building fighters, airplanes. I know it's not smart. I know. I know I'm bad at the game, but whatever. And I'm also just gonna build a whole bunch of submarines because I'm lazy with seafair. Well, one is because I'm lazy with seafair, yeah. So, you know. So now I just find someone that has Seawolf. Okay, good. Our country does have one. And just throw them in the army. Your damage kind of sucks, but oh well. You're the leader of the entire navy now. Good luck! Have fun! Like, I'm not exactly that great at this game. To be honest, it's only recently that I finally decided to actually, like, take advantage of tanks instead of just throwing, troops at everyone. Okay. Okay, I want one for you, one for you, one for you. Do I have... nah. I'll be fine. And I'll switch some of those over to tank once I have my heavy tank, auto. So, and I'll change these to heavies then. Okay. I do not need armor cars. Actually, yeah, you're better. Get out of here. And I also want to keep you because I'm a sea-based nation. Switch all you over to a real card, because I'll have time before someone fights me. I'll be fine. And you can be my garrison. Once I can use garrison. Okay. I'm not going to be taking trade with Skyfall, because that automatically goes away if you become communist, and I'm going communist. Our society is divided between Mount Eris and Equestria. While we are able to transform between our Sea Pony and Hippogriff forms thanks to the shards of Novo's Pearl of Transformation, which every Hippogriff carries. The overmare... Okay. Turn yourself down. Hippogriff forms thanks to the shards of Novo's Pearl of Transformation, which every Hippogriff carries. The overwhelming majority of our citizens spend nearly all of their time in one form or another. This leads to different cultures, different ways of life, different economic and infrastructural needs, and a different attitude towards the world. Sea ponies see very little gain from the outside world, since no one but us makes things for undersea living. While the hippogriffs mostly desire increased interaction with border world, we must balance these different needs, lest we fall into civil strife. I absolutely love this mechanic, because you can get, because it allows you to make, like, off-map things, and I love that. Equestria is a vast underwater realm that's almost untouchable to surface dwellers. Few even know it is there. Its cities on the ocean floor are just as large and developed as those on the surface, and the sea ponies are masters of life under the waters. While building industry underwater may seem odd at first, it would be foolish not to include half our nation in our economic growth. So long as our kingdom remains united, we will both prosper with the right investments. I want to have these off, but just have it as my main thing to look at. Equestria is home to a vast population of millions of sea ponies. While many of them hold isolationist views, they are still our subjects, so they will serve in our military when the need arises. As two equal parts of one united nation, Ares and Equestria must share the burden of conscription evenly. Current recruitment population 1.5 of eligible Equestrians, population 7.015 million. Recruited population 1.5. Recruited population factor 0%. You have mobilized 84,000 Equestrians out of 105,000 sea pony recruitment objectives. You have lost 0 sea ponies and moors in occupation. The number of sea ponies lost is proportional to our sea pony population, 34.7% of our total population, compared to our total war losses. And shockingly, dead sea ponies cannot be mobilized. Really thought I would just demobilized. Really thought I would just, like, hey, dead sea ponies, can you stop fighting the war and just become normal citizens again, you know? It would be kind of useful for me, for you not to be dead and just keep working the factories. No. Okay. And for now, I'm just going to turn all those off. Planes, I'll deal with you when I actually am at war or getting ready for a war. And yeah, I should be good to go. Queen Novo. For the last 30 years, Ares and Equestria have been ruled by the steady claw, or fin, of Queen Novo. Novo's reign has been highly eventful, to say the least. Its early years were marked by completing the integration of industrial production into Hippogriffia economy, a process started by her father, King Skylance. Novo managed to soften the industrialism birth pangs by impressing strong harmonic values upon the industrialist class, preferring to lead by example rather than force. The second decade of her reign was marked by a long period of stability and peace, with Ares retreating from North Zebrican affairs and establishing closer ties with Equestria and New Maryland. All that changed when the Storm King attacked. All changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Is that a reference? Or is that accidental? All that changed when the Fire Nation attacked, unwilling to risk total destruction as had befallen so many other nations which had faced his wrath. Novo evacuated the population and industry of Mount Ares to the underwater realm of Equestria. There, she prepared for an eventual confrontation. Her fin forced by her precocious daughter and the equestrian elements of harmony. Yay! Go Twilight, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, Rarity, and Rainbow Dash. Woo! You got this! Actually, they already did it! Woo! Novo's forces defeated the Storm King and reclaimed Ares. However, the evacuation left deep scars, and Novo has had more and more difficulty balancing the needs of her creatures. Sea ponies and hippogriffs clash, and the new generation of industrialists abandon harmonic values. Who would have guessed? In the name profit. Who would have guessed? Gasp! All while the new generation of workers and students turn to radical ideas. Profit? Radical ideas? Going against each other? Who would have guessed? Throughout her long reign, Novo has proven herself a master negotiation, or some would say concession. She has proven herself a pragmatic ruler, or some would say a coward. She has been a rock of stability in a rapidly changing world, or some would say she has held Hippogriffia back. Some whispers that she plans to retire in favor of her daughter, Skystar. Others long for a change of pace, but most Aresians simply could not imagine an Ares without Queen Novo. Well, you better start to. Divided by society, currently balanced, so not divided. For the moment, the government is generally seen as successfully balancing the competing interests of its hippogriff and sea pony citizens, and is generally supported on both Ares and Equestria. Yay! The royal line of Novo. Novo's royal lineage dates back well over 1,000 years, and her daughter, Skystar, will succeed her. To the hippogriffs and sea ponies, this is simply how things are. Any change from this particular formula will be a major shock to the people of Ares. Okay. I am most likely not even going to touch this entire section at all. This is useless. This is just completely useless. I know I could get some nice effects, but it's better just to rush. That will never be touched at all. Placing the Isolationist. The isolationist policies have long been championed by the sea ponies, who view recent events as evidence that we should stick with isolationism instead of opening up. If we are to make progress, we have to make sure that they are placated. And it'll give me 15 stability, splendid isolation, the stability will go away when it goes away, and I'll become sea pony leaning. And let's begin. You know, like 23 minutes into the episode, let's begin actually the game. Do. Oh. Well, apparently we have low pony power, probably from me changing my divisions. But over the past few weeks, the army has been trailing various proposals for tank designs in Zoo Media. After our victory over the Storm King, the army searched for the latest advances in land warfare from around the world. Of particular interest was Stalingrad's use of tanks during the revolution. Royal Island Arsenal has been hard at work developing a series of proposed tank designs and experimenting with how best to integrate them into our land forces. The original T1 prototype was scrapped early in development, but the T2 and T3 prototypes are looking promising. The T2 is small and fast, light tank with a crew of 4. It has 16 mm of armor and a max speed of 72 kilometers per hour. Maybe. On roads, the T3, however, is the exact opposite. A joint collaboration with Equestria, the T3 is designed with a crew of 10 and has maximum speed of 10 per hour over roads. With 7 guns, it is built to overwhelm the enemy with superior firepower. as it advances with the infantry, rather than outmaneuvering the enemy lines. A third contestant had also been entered in the trials. Clawbeak, an eccentric inventor and racing car driver, submitted his own design based purely on speed. While more lightly armored than either T2 or T3, Tide's tank supports a crew of 2. It is armed with 37mm cannon at an astounding speed of 120 kilometers per hour on roads. However, Army analysts are not confident that could stand up to any form of anti-tank weapons that it would be liable to face, so it faced stiff opposition. As the trials conclude, a decision must be taken. Which design will the Army adopt? So we can get light tanks, you get light tanks and his converted tractor engine, but I'm going to be going with the heavy tank. Basic heavy tank chests. Woo! Basic heavy tank. And I'm just going to set all those over to heavy tank now. And I'll be able to change you guys from light tank to heavy tank once I get some army experience. Ministers disagree. A disagreement in a budgeting committee has spiraled into an all-out row between two of our ministers. Seapony Seafoam and Hippogriff Windlance have both come to the government to resolve the dispute, which was over a package of transport funding meant to connect towns in Mount Ares and Equestria. Given the immense difference in the infrastructure needed by Seaponies and Hippogriffs, neither minister is happy with the current agreement. They have demanded we split the funding, with each minister arguing that their race has more complicated infrastructure requirements and thus should get the larger share of the funding. I could side with the Hippogriff minister. We will provide equal funding to both, or I could side with the Seapony minister. I will be siding with the Hippogriff minister. Why? Because Hippogriff's downsides are better. They just have less downsides. Recent decision by the government are seen as favoring the Hippogriffs over the Seaponies. And okay then. Let's report on military aviation during the Storm War. All the armed services played their roles during the reclamation of Hippogriffia's territory from the Storm King. However, special mention should be made about the Air Force's actions during the war. Barring the support and cover it provided to the Navy and the Army in their various battles, it was also instrumental in the final defeat of the Storm King army. During the Battle of Aen Trot Gorat, air superiority had already been in the Hippogriffins' claws since the beginning of their surprise war on the Storm King's forces, when they quickly and efficiently overwhelmed the Storm King's air force, most of which was grounded, not expecting a large enemy force to appear from beneath the ocean. During the final battle, the Air Force ensured that all the Storm King's airships were destroyed. These airships played an important part in the Storm King's campaign, as they gave him a tactical and strategic advantage over his enemies, carrying large amounts of warriors, materials, and weapons at a fairly fast pace, easily outmaneuvering his opponents and positioning his forces to deliver crushing attacks on their weak points. These same airships, however, weren't quick enough to face the lightning strikes of the biplanes which composed the Air Force. One of the many airships to join the scrapyard was the flagship of the Storm King, being destroyed by Crack Lightning himself, who was lauded as a hero for his actions that day, together with the other branches of the military and providential help from the elemental bearers. The Storm King rampage through Zebrica came to an end. Peace and harmony returned to Hippogriffia. The tactics employed by the Air Force during the war are still taught in our nation's military colleges and serve as an important building block all pilots must master to ensure the integrity of our skies. We rule the skies! And gives us 10 air experience and makes my next thing so cheap I can already choose which doctrine I'm going down. Tactical bombers. Bombing factories. I'm going to be going for, I believe, I want air, yeah, I'm going to go for close air support. Yeah. By flying in formation planes can provide support to each other or work together to attack enemies. Mutually exclusive of force rotation and air superiority. Yep, I'm sure. Crack Lightning returns. Aviator. and Storm War hero Crack Lightning touched down at Queen Novo Airport this morning to an awaiting crowd of reporters and fans. His trusty custom-built aeroplane, the Spirit of Starfield, gleamed in the morning light as it taxied to its parking spot. His 3-month solo tour of the world has been the talk of Hippogriffia, with many wondering what he discovered beyond the borders of the island. His words to a reporter from Ares Post have been reprinted in numerous outlets, and his celebrity has turned them into a rallying cry for the isolationist elements within Hippogriffia. There are many great sights in the wider world, Carthan chief among them, but I must say, on the whole, the Storm King's barbarianism is the rule rather than the exception outside of our fair nation. They have very little to offer us except for endless isms: communism, liberalism, republicanism, all ideas which griffins and even ponies kill each other over. Eat every day. We need to remain strong in the face of this violent new world, and reject these foreign ideas which would disrupt our peaceful way of life. There's a big world out there. More hippogriffs should experience it, or perhaps we should listen to his concerns. So this one bad. So I'm gonna be going communist. So I gotta go this way. And this will bring it back to leaning. The recent action taken by the government are clearing showing favoritism towards hippogriffs over sea pony. Oh. Ever since we exposed ourselves to the outside world after our long sequester in Equestria, foreign products have been coming into Hippogriffia. Perhaps the most important of these are books and the ideas they hold. From works of literature to science to philosophy, our younger generation are voraciously devouring this new reading material, and as they do so, they pick up some of these ideas and make them their own. Of greatest concern to us are the political ideas they have been absorbing. While Hippogriffia has always been a stable, absolute monarchy, many among the younger generation are now discovering that there are other ways of organizing society, ranging from constitutionalism to republicanism to nationalism to even the most radical ideas such as fascism and communism. Right now, their curiosity is intellectual, but we know how fast these intellectual ideas can take hold and a threat they could eventually pose to our world. We should keep an eye on this. Yes, we should. And to go communist, you have to go with designating trade ports. You cannot support autarky. Contrary to what some claim, we are not looking to stick our heads in the sand and ignore the outside world. The cities of Wingarden, Howlington, and Counterfold will be dedicated to trade with the outside world. And we can still be part of the world while watching its influence on us. Keep out. Stay out of here. Don't you dare control us. We'll move our divided society more towards hippogriff control, political power cost, rejecting, blah, blah, hippogriff priority, blah, blah. And yeah, the socialist and liberal clubs, new ideas are spreading across Hippogriffia, brought in by our renewed contact with the outside world. Clubs have formed discussing and spreading these ideas, which range from liberal ideas of free trade and representative government, inspired by the Griffonian three principles, to more radical ones. Syndicalist writing, both of the national and revolutionary varieties, from Wingbardi and Aquilia, have attracted readers, and some clubs even promote communist ideas imported from Stalingrad, although none have yet called for anything violent. Most of the membership of these clubs consist of curious young griffs prone to experimentation, as well as a few older ones who are dissatisfied with the monarchy and its handling of the Storm King's invasion. It's their right to exist, or we can order them to shut down. Well, let's allow them to exist. Nothing wrong with that, right? Also, I love Queen Novo is in charge of Harmonic. Nobody's in charge of communists. Nobody's in charge of supremacists, and nobody's in charge of the non-aligned. They don't exist yet. What is it? Oh, yeah! Oh, I got a new thing I could do. I could ban communism. Yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to be doing that. I really don't think I'm going to be doing that. I'm gonna be heading straight for my booming economy. The world is woven together more tightly than ever before, and like the currents and winds, trade and wealth and prosperity is more understood as a flow than a fixed thing. Opening the Aries Stock Exchange will let us partake in this flow and control it to some extent. The Aries First Committee, a group of veterans, protectionists, economists, and community activists gathered together today to announce the formation of the Aries First Committee, a group dedicated to preserving traditional Hippogriffian values and protecting our economy from foreign takeover. The most prominent leaders were Sea Pony Raftwood and the Queen's former advisor who had first proposed the move to Equestria, and Hippogriff Flying Ace Crack Lightning, who gave a patriotic speech at the opening of the committee. Mount Aries stands tall, and like the mountain we must stand alone. We cannot depend on foreigners to help us, and neither should they depend on us. We have always been strong, self-sufficient, and proud of our cultures and traditions, and the Aries First Committee will see that that stays true into the 11th century and beyond. He was met with thunderous applause and launched into the second half of his speech with even more vigor. Liberal intellectuals would have us believe that harmony means opening our markets and our borders to every creatures are funneling money and resources into charity projects in the North society that looks after its own. Aries First stands for the auto worker who is tired of seeing foreign cars drive their wages down, for the veteran tired of zebras accusing us of cowardice when we defeated the Storm King, for the small business owner tired of competing with foreign conglomerates who cheat the market. More than that, Aries First stands for our culture, our values, our history, and for the bright future for all of Hippogriffia. Many newspapers have denounced Aries First as xenophobic, backwards, or fear-mongering. Still, their membership is quickly spelling, particularly in Equestria, where sea ponies see very little to gain from international trade, as there are few foreign products they want, and many are concerned about underwater manufacturing being unable to compete with industrial giants in Equestria and Griffonia. So we are actually gonna say it's good for them to stand up for themselves, just so we go back to Hippogriff leaning. But is it? We might have to do that later, but not now. And what can I get? I don't exactly need someone who's specifically here for harmless reasons. Let's get you and increase my speed of building my things. Oh, and let's modernize. Heavy tank production will be slow, but it'll grow. Oh. The socialist book clubs have begun spreading outside the universities as idealistic students try to spread their ideas among the general populace, while many of these groups profess harmonic socialist and democratic socialist ideas and want to work with the government to implement socialist economics to Hippogriffia. There is an undercurrent of sedition in these groups. They all want at least as much devolution of power away from the monarchy as the liberals do. More alarmingly, some of these groups openly call for the complete transformation of Hippogriffia. These more radical groups are gaining popularity among the poorer sea ponies and hippogriffs who are skeptical of the possibility of reform. The largest of these radicals among the sea ponies are anarchists, who call for a complete abolition of the state and claim to represent the natural way of life and sea ponies, advocating for democratic and non-heretical school-based living. Meanwhile, the most popular group among hippogriffs is a communist faction, which emerged around a charismatic and eccentric sea pony named Posada. who claims that Hippogriffia is uniquely suited to achieving a post-scarcity society, but only if it transformed into a revolutionary dictatorship of the proletariat. While these groups are currently small, their membership is rapidly growing, and news has reached us that they are planning a conference to debate their ideas and form a coalition of some kind, presumably organized around whichever faction's ideas prove most persuasive. Cracking down would do more harm than good, or break up the conference at once. Cracking down would do more harm than good, wink. The Socialist Labor Party of Arist. The Council of Students will be in charge. And Skybolt Spear, game's communist sympathizer. Hey, Skybolt Spear. Where you at? Where you at? Oh, I thought you were like a general or something. Because there's the supremacist one. Are you not? Okay, if you're not, then that's fine. I was gonna just put you in charge or something. But oh well. If I'm overlooking it, tell me. It might be an advisor of some kind, but anyways, whatever. And after this focus, that's gonna be the end of this video for the day, because we got to knowing our party. We have learned who we are and what we are growing to be. We will, us, the Socialist Labor Party of Eris, will begin our communist revolution and defeat the evil Queen Novo and bring the true revolution to the world. And as Queen Novo, let's cut the industrial red tape. Yeah, that's gonna be good. All right. Well, if you enjoyed, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying something new for this channel, but something I really enjoy in my personal time, and I hope you enjoy it too, and come back for the next one. As always, peace.